The field trip to a primitive world. The shuttle cut through Earth's atmosphere like a silent predator, descending toward the blue-green planet below. Inside, a group of young Zyral scholars peered through reinforced observation panels, their mandibles clicking in mild amusement. "This is the Great Earth," scoffed Jervier, a tall, spindly student with shimmering violet exoskeletal plates. "I expected something more advanced, or at least more dangerous." Professor Vekthar, an elder of the Zyral Dominion, exhaled in exasperation. "You are here to observe, not to judge, Jervier. Earth is an anomaly. Humans have achieved a surprising level of technological progress despite their biological frailty. Our task is to understand why." The students muttered among themselves as the shuttle landed in a secluded clearing deep within the Amazon rainforest. The Dominion had long classified Earth as a Category 3 developing world, technologically inferior but self-sufficient. Zyral High Command had little interest in the planet beyond casual study. The landing ramp extended, and the students followed their professor into the humid jungle. The alien scholars wore sleek, bioadaptive suits that adjusted to Earth's atmosphere, filtering out any potential contaminants. "This ecosystem is chaotic," murmured Yulektan, his many-faceted eyes scanning the dense foliage. "On Zyral worlds, life is curated, controlled. Here it's unchecked." Vekthar nodded approvingly. "Indeed, Earth is one of the most biologically diverse planets we have ever encountered. It is an uncontrolled experiment in evolution, where even the smallest organisms can be predators." At the professor's words, Jervier scoffed. "Predators? You mean those?" He gestured toward a jaguar, slinking through the shadows. "Fascinating, I suppose, but no match for a Zyral warrior. Even our hatchlings could kill it with their bare claws." Another student, Makril, pointed at a distant crocodile basking on the riverbank. "We studied these creatures in preparation for this trip. Their bite force is impressive, but they are sluggish and lack intelligence. How have humans survived among such inefficient killers?" Before Vekthar could respond, a deep, rumbling voice interrupted them. "Because humans are not the prey." Commander Rul stepped forward, his towering form clad in shimmering, obsidian battle armor. He was a Zyral warrior of the highest order, bred for combat, his chitin plating impervious to most known weapons. His presence alone made the students straighten in silent awe. "Humans are weak," Rul continued, his voice a low growl. "But they have endured because they adapt. They are cunning, unpredictable. That is why the Dominion watches them." Jervier clicked his mandibles in defiance. "Perhaps, but that does not explain why we are studying their animals. None of these creatures pose a real threat to the Dominion." Vekthar's mandibles twitched in amusement. "Then let us test that assumption. If lions and crocodiles fail to impress you, what if I asked you to find Earth's smallest lethal predator?" The students exchanged confused glances. Surely, nothing minuscule could be dangerous to a Zyral warrior. After a few moments, Makril activated his datapad, sifting through Earth's extensive biodiversity records. His compound eyes widened. "The Patadigua," he announced. "A spider no larger than a grain of sand. Its venom paralyzes its prey almost instantly." Jervier chittered in laughter. "A spider? How amusing. What could something so small possibly do to a Zyral?" Rul stepped forward, flexing his armored limbs. "Let us find out." The students hesitated. Even Vekthar seemed uncertain. But Rul was unwavering. "You question our superiority? Then test it. Let this tiny predator try its worst." Within minutes, they had located the minuscule spider, carefully capturing it in a containment field. It was barely visible against the professor's outstretched palm. "This is ridiculous," Jervier muttered. "It is a toy." Vekthar hesitated before nodding. "Very well. Proceed." Rul extended an armored digit, deactivating the field. The tiny spider hesitated, then scurried onto his hand. A moment later, it bit. Silence. Rul chuckled. "Is that all?" Then his breathing hitched. His massive form shuddered. His mandibles twitched violently. The students watched in horror as their strongest warrior staggered, his limbs seizing. His eyes, once fierce, filled with something no Zyril had ever seen in them before. Terror. And then he collapsed. The warrior's challenge. Silence gripped the clearing. The students, once so confident in their superiority, stood frozen as Commander Rul convulsed on the jungle floor. His massive, armored body twitched erratically, his claws scraping against the damp earth. His breathing, once steady and powerful, had turned into ragged gasps. Professor Vekthar was the first to break from his stupor. "Get the medkit, now!" Makril scrambled to his pack, retrieving a sleek, metallic device pulsing with green light. Zyril medical technology was among the finest in the galaxy, capable of neutralizing poisons, accelerating healing, even reviving those on the brink of death. Yet, as Makril pressed the device against Rulvak's twitching body, nothing happened. The warrior's spasms intensified, his mandibles locking as if frozen in mid-snarl. "Impossible," Makril whispered. "His system isn't responding." Jervier, still struggling to comprehend what was unfolding before him, took a cautious step forward. But how? It was just a spider. A tiny spider, Yelektan corrected, his voice barely above a whisper. Vekthar's many-faceted eyes darkened. "Size is irrelevant. Its venom is the factor we underestimated." The professor quickly activated his own medical scanner, running a deep analysis on Rulvak's vital signs. The readings made his mandibles tighten in alarm. "His neural pathways are shutting down," he muttered. "The venom is attacking his central nervous system at a rate our technology cannot counteract." The students recoiled in horror. Zyril warriors were the pinnacle of biological perfection, engineered for resilience, immune to nearly all known toxins. They had conquered entire worlds, crushed civilizations, and laughed in the face of death. Yet here lay Rulvak, one of the strongest among them, reduced to a twitching, helpless form in mere seconds by a creature so small it could be mistaken for dust. Jervier's arrogance shattered. "We have to do something," he cried. "There is nothing to do," Vekthar said grimly. "It's already too late." Rulvak's movements slowed, his body stiffening. His gasp became shallow, his eyes dulling as his life force drained away. The proud warrior who had once stood unshaken in the face of galactic war now lay utterly defeated by a single bite. And then he was still. The jungle around them buzzed with the sounds of Earth's vibrant life. Birds calling, insects chirping, unseen predators shifting in the underbrush. But to the Zyril, the world had gone silent. Makril slowly turned his gaze toward the containment field, where the Pata Digwas still sat, entirely unaware of the chaos it had just wrought. This thing just killed a Zyril warrior," he murmured. Vekthar exhaled sharply. "Yes, and with ease." For a long moment, no one spoke. The weight of what had just occurred settled heavily over them all. The Zyril Dominion had faced powerful enemies before, species with warships, weapons of mass destruction, entire fleets at their command. But this was different. Earth was not merely home to an intelligent species. It was a breeding ground for monsters hidden in plain sight. Jervier, still in shock, finally spoke. "If a creature this insignificant possesses such power, what else are we overlooking?" It was the question they were all now asking themselves. Yelektan shuddered. "Humans have lived among these things for their entire history. They don't just survive here. They thrive." The implications were staggering. What if humans had already found ways to harness their world's biological horrors? What if they had weaponized them? What if the Zyril Dominion had completely misunderstood what it meant to be strong? Professor Vekthar's mandibles clicked in agitation. "We are leaving. Now. But what about Rulvak's body?" Makril asked hesitantly. Vekthar turned his gaze toward the lifeless warrior. His chitinous plating had lost its sheen, his body frozen in the final moment of his struggle. "There is nothing to recover," the professor said quietly. The students exchanged uneasy glances before hurriedly retreating to the shuttle. As they ascended the ramp, Jervier glanced back one final time at the jungle. Earth no longer seemed primitive to him. It felt hungry, a planet of silent killers. The shuttle soared upward, cutting through Earth's atmosphere with a quiet hum. Inside, the Zyral students sat rigid in their seats, their earlier arrogance shattered. The weight of Commander Rul-Vak's death hung over them like a specter. Professor Vekthar stood near the central control panel, his mandibles clicking in deep thought. The medical analysis of Rul-Vak's body had confirmed the worst. The Pata Digwa's venom had overwhelmed his nervous system with terrifying efficiency. No known Zyral antidote could have saved him. Jervier, who had once scoffed at Earth's dangers, now sat hunched over his datapad, frantically scrolling through the planet's biological records. His compound eyes darted over the endless list of species, each more horrifying than the last. This can't be real, he muttered. There are creatures here that make the Pata Digwa look tame. Yulektan, still shaken, leaned over to look. What do you mean? Jervier turned the datapad toward him. Look at this. He highlighted an entry. Box jellyfish, Chironex fleckeri. Neurotoxic venom causes excruciating pain, paralysis, and cardiac arrest within minutes. Stings are often fatal even to humans. No known universal antidote. The students exchanged uneasy glances. If a spider the size of a grain of sand could kill a Zyral warrior, what would a jellyfish capable of flooding a body with neurotoxins in seconds do? Jervier continued scrolling. And look at this cordyceps. It's a fungus that hijacks the bodies of its hosts and forces them to spread its spores. Makril's mandibles tightened in disgust. Parasitic mind control? Jervier nodded grimly. Imagine if that thing adapted to affect a species like ours. The room fell silent again. Earth was no mere primitive world. It was a living death trap. Professor Vekthar finally spoke. This changes everything. Makril turned to him. How so? Vekthar's gaze was distant, calculating. The Dominion has always viewed Earth as an unremarkable planet. We saw its inhabitants as technologically weak, biologically fragile. We believed they were insignificant. He gestured toward the datapad. But Earth's life forms defy the rules of the galaxy. They are small, unassuming, yet wield evolutionary weapons beyond our comprehension. And the most disturbing part? Humans have adapted to live among them. Jervier swallowed hard. If we misjudged Earth's wildlife this badly, what else have we misjudged? Yulektan whispered the thought that had been gnawing at them all. What if humans have learned to control these creatures? The idea sent a ripple of unease through the cabin. Makril's voice was hushed. What if they're already using them? The students turned to Vekthar, who had gone deathly still. That, he said, is a question the Dominion must now answer very, very carefully. Retreat and reassessment. The Zyral shuttle drifted silently through Earth's upper atmosphere, its passengers subdued. Below them, the blue-green planet spun on, oblivious to the fear it had instilled in some of the galaxy's most arrogant scholars. Professor Vekthar stood at the central command console, transmitting a high-priority report to the Zyral Dominion's high command. His mandibles clicked in agitation as he relayed the details of Commander Rul-Vak's death and the disturbing implications of Earth's ecosystem. Jervier, once brimming with condescension for the planet, now sat stiffly in his seat, his compound eyes flickering with unease. Sir, what do you think the Dominion will do? Vekthar did not answer immediately. The question was a dangerous one. The Zyral Dominion prided itself on control, expansion, and absolute dominance. Earth had never been seen as a threat until today. The Dominion has two options, Vekthar finally said. Contain Earth before its biological horrors can be weaponized, or destroy it outright. Makril stiffened. Destroy it? But humans haven't even shown aggression toward us. Vekthar turned to face him. Neither had the Pata Digwa, yet it killed one of our strongest warriors in seconds. The students exchanged uneasy glances. For all their technological superiority, their kind had never encountered anything like Earth. Not just the humans, but the very world they lived on. Jervier swallowed. But If we attack, wouldn't humans fight back? Vector nodded. And that is precisely what concerns me. He gestured toward the data pads scattered across the room, filled with research on Earth's deadly creatures. If humans have survived alongside these nightmares for millennia, it means one thing. They have adapted to a level we cannot yet comprehend. We have no idea what kind of countermeasures they might have developed in secret. Tan shifted uncomfortably. You're saying, if we strike first, we may awaken something far worse. The professor's mandibles clicked. Exactly. The students sat in stunned silence. The Zyral Dominion had crushed entire civilizations, annihilated species that opposed them, and bent entire star systems to their will. But for the first time, they faced a terrifying reality. Earth was not just another planet. It was a death world, and its dominant species? They had thrived in it. Mokril hesitated before speaking. Then what do we do? Vector exhaled. We leave. Gervier's eyes widened. Leave? Just like that. Vector nodded. We will report our findings to the Dominion. They will understand that Earth is best left alone. If we interfere, we risk provoking a force we do not yet understand. Tan shuddered. So we quarantine it. Yes, Vector said firmly. Earth will be marked as a restricted zone. No Zyral ship will be permitted to land here again. We will observe from afar, but we will never make contact. Gervier exhaled, glancing one last time at the planet below. Just hours ago, he had seen Earth as an insignificant rock filled with weak creatures. Now, he realized the truth. This planet was dangerous beyond measure. And the worst part? Humans weren't afraid of it. As the shuttle engaged its jump drive and disappeared into the void, Earth continued its slow rotation, utterly unaware that an empire had just decided to never return.